Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitya Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo.
Can you follow me on the harmonium? It's the same one we did on Sunday. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I've never seen a microphone stand like this. This is from the 1950s. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamide Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, text number 22. That's what's on the screen? Okay, move it to 22, please. The title of the chapter is Pure Devotional Service. And some of you, most of you, maybe all of you, you're ready. Pure Devotional Service. Shukadev Goswami is speaking to Maharaj Parikshit. The eyes which do not look at the symbolic representations of the personality of Godhead Vishnu, his forms, name, quality, etc., are like those printed on the plumes of a peacock. And the legs, which do not move to the holy places, like Fort Lauderdale, where the Lord is remembered, are considered to be like tree trunks. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Especially for the householder devotees, just a few of you are householder devotees, the path of deity worship is strongly recommended. As far as possible, every householder, by the direction of the spiritual master, must install the deity of Vishnu forms like Radha, Krishna, Lakshmi, Narayan, or Sitaram especially, or any other form of the Lord like Nrsimha, Varaha, Gaurnitai, Matsya, Kurma, Shalagram, Shila, and many other forms of Vishnu like Trivikram, Keshava, Achyuta, Vasudeva, Narayana, and Damodar, are recommended in the Vaishnava Tantras or Puranas. And one's family should worship strictly, following the directions and regulations of Archana Vidhi. That was a long sentence. Any member of the family who is above 12 years of age should be initiated by a bona fide spiritual master. That's when we don't follow so carefully. And all the members of the household should be engaged in daily service to the Lord beginning from morning 4 a.m. I don't know how strict we follow that either, but early at least. Till night, 10 p.m., by performing Mangala Aratik, Niranjana Archana Puja Kirtana Shringara Bhoga Vaikali Sandhya Arati Pata Bhoga at night, Shayana Arati, etc. Engagement in such worship of the deity under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master will greatly help the householders to purify their very existence and make rapid progress in spiritual knowledge. Simply theoretical Book knowledge is not sufficient for a neophyte devotee. Book knowledge is theoretical, whereas the archana process is practical. Spiritual knowledge must be developed by a combination of theoretical and practical knowledge, and that is the guaranteed way for attainment of spiritual perfection. The training of devotional service for a neophyte devotee completely depends on the expert spiritual master who knows how to lead his disciple to make gradual progress towards the path back home, back to Godhead. One should not become a pseudo-spiritual master as a matter of business to meet one's family expenditures. One must be an expert spiritual master to deliver the disciple from the clutches of impending death. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has defined the bona fide qualities of a spiritual master, and one of the verses in that description reads, you all know the verse, right? Let's say it together. Shri Vigrahara Dhana Nityanana Shingara Tan Mandira Marjanado Yuktasya Bhaktam Shaniyunjatopi Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. Shri Vigraha is the archa, or suitable, worshipable form of the Lord, and the disciple should be engaged in worshiping the deity regularly by Shringara, by proper decoration and dressing, and also by Mandira Marjana, the matter of cleansing the temple. The spiritual master teaches the neophyte devotee all these kindly and personally to help him gradually in the realization of the transcendental name, quality, form, etc. of the Lord. Paragraph. Only attention engaged in the service of the Lord, especially in dressing and decorating the temple, accompanied by musical kirtana and spiritual instructions from scriptures, can save the common man from the hellish cinema attractions and rubbish sex songs broadcast everywhere by radios and a few other media facilities since this time. If one is unable to maintain a temple at home, he should go to another's temple, where all the above performances are regularly executed, visiting the temple of a devotee and looking at the profusely decorated forms of the Lord, well dressed, in a well-decorated, sanctified temple, naturally infuse the mundane mind with spiritual inspiration. Then comes the legs. People should visit holy places like Vrindavan, where such temples and worship of the deity are specifically maintained. Formerly, all rich men, like kings and rich merchants, constructed such temples under the direction of expert devotees of the Lord, like the 6 Goswamis, and it is the duty of the common man to take advantage of these temples and festivals observed in the holy places of pilgrimage by following in the footsteps of great devotees. Anuvraja. One should not visit all these sanctified pilgrimage places and temples with sightseeing in mind, but one must go to such temples and sanctified places, immortalized by the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, and be guided by proper men who know the science. This is called Anuvraja. Anu means to follow. It is therefore best to follow the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master, even in visiting temples and the holy places of pilgrimage. One who does not move in that way is as good as a standing tree condemned by the Lord not to move. The moving tendency of the human being is misused by visiting places for sightseeing. The best purpose of such traveling tendencies could be fulfilled by visiting the holy places established by the great acharyas, and thereby not being misled by atheistic propaganda of money-making men who have no knowledge of spiritual matters. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sometimes his language is very strong, isn't it? Why? He could say the same thing. A little softer, right? So why is it a little strident, so strong? People are asleep. Jeev Jago, Gaurachandra Bole. People are asleep. There's a conversation, Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles. Maybe you've seen the video. It's recorded and audio and transcribed and everything. The video is really nice. It shows Prabhupada's garden in Los Angeles. As you look at the front of the temple, it's over to the left. And it's a nice place, and they set it up nicely with trees and everything. And because the devotees in Los Angeles were quite active in reaching out to influential people, particularly scholars, but others. So regularly, because of the devotees' interaction with these scholars, they would come to meet Prabhupada. And on this one occasion, there was a number of them, 10 of them or something, all come at the same time. And Prabhupada was doing his thing, the rascals and strong language. So one man very politely and gently said, "Can you use another word besides?" And Prabhupada smiled and gave him one of these and said, "Rascal is the sum total of all those other things." It just went on like, he knew what he was doing. He knew the meaning. He knew the impact that it would have. And he used that language. No, we can't imitate. But why did he do that? Because people were asleep to the real purpose of life. And so he not just spoke those strong words, he spoke the spiritual solution or alternative. What's it like when consciousness is not asleep? What's Krishna consciousness like? How to traverse the path of bhakti. And using twice in this purport the language of making one's life perfect. So an essential part of making one's life perfect is you have to let go of nescience. You know the phrase, tamasi ma jyotirgama? Ma means not. Tamasi ma. Jyotir gama. Go to the light. Back to Godhead. That's the Back to Godhead slogan. Tamasi ma jyotir gama. Now this is Shukadeva Goswami instructing Maharaj Parikshit at a certain juncture of his life when his days were numbered, but nonetheless he's giving, in response to the questions of Maharaj Parikshit, and he's giving it in sequence, the first 3 chapters in sequence. First, forming a conception of God, first step in God realization, chapter 1. Describing seeing the universe in terms of the universal form or the personality of Godhood who manifests that feature. Then, in sequence, letting that go and going towards the Supersoul, Paramatma, Lord of the heart. And then the personal feature, chapter 3. And then how to utilize the resources, the faculties of this human form of life, the senses, the eyes and the ears and everything in service to the Lord. So deity worship is, as we know, I'm just reminding you of some things you already know. According to Rupa Goswami, there's 64 items of devotional service that are recommended. Of those 64, he identifies 5 that are so potent that, according to Rupa Goswami, if one can perform any one of those 5 without offense, small qualifier, without offense, which means we're probably making some offense because we're doing those things, we're not at once experiencing Bhava Bhakti, but they're so powerful. Even if we're in a covered state, they can free us from that covered state very quickly, very powerfully. And deity worship is one of those 5. So, who amongst our scholarly devotees besides Lakshmi Nrsimha knows what the other 4 are? Let's say, who can say one of the other 4? One. Chanting. Associating, serving and associating with. Because associating with means serving, right? You said what? Going to holy places. Bhagavat, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So as we're hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, we had kirtan, where this function is receiving deities. Now the procedure is quite simple, but the procedure, as mentioned here, is standard. What's standard about it? There's scriptural authority behind the procedures. Prabhupada has simplified it for our purposes. But there's sections of the Vedas called the Agamas, and that's the formal procedure that we don't follow. And then there's the Pancharatra, is the formal procedure that we do follow. So Pancharatrika Vidhi goes well with Bhagavat Vidhi, the deity worship found in the Pancharatras. There are portions of the Vedas that teach us how to do the kind of deity worship that we do in the ways that we do it. It's simplified, of course, but some teachings that Srila Prabhupada gave about deity worship, again, just reminding you of things you already know. Of the items of deity worship, there are 2 items of deity worship that are most important. Cleanliness, punctuality. I can make a joke, but I don't know if I'll make the joke. Indian community is not known for punctuality. I could say many things. But by practice of deity worship, it helps train you not only for deity worship, but your life. It's a mode of goodness principle. Be on time. With deity worship, for sure. And then by deity worship and deity worship and deity worship, it trains you to be on time. On time. I travel every now and then. Sannyasis do things like that. So one of the places where I go, there's a devotee that organizes a nice home gathering like this. And he told me, it's like his inside way of saying the same thing I just said. In the corporate world, the American standard is when there's a meeting, you're 7 minutes early. Corporate standard, America. And in India, it's different standard. I don't know how it works in the corporate world, but it certainly works in home programs, that's for sure. And temple programs, and so cleanliness and punctuality. Now, mentioned again several times in the purport, ornaments and dresses and arti and and a regular basis. on time and very clean. Mandira Marjana, the place where the worship of the deity is very clean. This is a principle that Prabhupada taught for householders. One of the first things you do when you're going to do some service for Krishna, one of the first things you do is make the place clean. And supposing it's already clean, you make the place clean again. Because it's just a principle. Cleanliness is next to godliness. So it's inviting for Krishna to come and be present. It's not just a formality, it's a gesture of inviting Krishna to that place where you're going to do your service, whether it's the kitchen or your workstation or whatever. It's just a principle, cleanliness. Mandira Marjana. And that Mandira Marjana, again, another teaching that you probably all know, if one has the opportunity to do some simple service like that, like cleansing the temple floor, compared to the pujari that's doing the arti on the altar, as far as Krishna is concerned, they're equal. It's not high and low, it's equal. Because it's the same, it's deity worship. One may not be Brahmana initiated. Go to the temple and clean the temple room floor. Because Krishna will recognize that as much as the pujari who's Brahmana initiated and blowing the conch shell and ringing the bell and offering the incense, etc. It's the love and devotion and the recommended activity performed in a regulated way. Gornitai worship is especially recommended. Maybe you know this. In the beginning, there was no deity worship because there weren't deities and the devotees weren't prepared or qualified to do deity worship. So it may be like that in people's homes. We don't need to rush families to hurry up and get deities when they're not prepared to accept that responsibility. So it was pictures. Picture of Panchatattva and a picture of the spiritual master. Prabhupada called it Guru Gauranga altar. And then after some time, some places, Gaurnitai deities. And then some places, Jagannath deities. And some places, Radha Krishna deities. But so whether it's, as we just read, whether it's this or that or the other deity, it's the opportunity to render service, direct service to the deity form of the Lord. That's what's most important. And then, 3 times in the purport, according to the guidance of the spiritual master. The guidance of the spiritual master means according to regulations of Scripture, because that's what spiritual masters do, according to the regulations of Scripture. And while it may be, to a degree, advisable for one devotee to do this, another devotee to do that, the principle is the same. I'll mention specifically. In Houston, I think it's okay to say which place. In Houston, there's a devotee couple where the wife takes care of the deity. And I didn't know it until the husband squealed on his wife. I asked, do you, in addition to worshiping your Radha Krishna deities at home, do you worship the deities in the temple? She just smiled, and her husband answered for her. She said, no. I said, is there a reason? He said, yes, because at home, she makes just as in the temple, 7 offerings and 7 artis every day. For years, 7 offerings and 7 artis every day. That's pretty intense. And she just smiled. She loves deity worship. And then I asked her, have you had exchanges with the deities where the deities show you some special reciprocation for all of that devotion that you offer? And she smiled. She smiles a lot. And she just nodded. And I said, could you share one? She said, yes. A little reserved and, nice, gentle person. She said, my practice is when I make offerings, I always remove Krishna's flute. And I place Krishna's flute in a very special place so I know where I placed it. And then after the offering and it's taken away, I put Krishna's flute back in his hand. And one day, after I took the plate away and brought it back to the kitchen for transfer, and I came back, Krishna was holding his flute. And she smiled. She didn't expand. She didn't explain. It's just that when you serve your deity in a very loving and personal way, something happens. Inside, something happens, and outside, there may be some sign or some indication that he's pleased. Now, it's not like the bell rings when there's some sign or indication like that. Even without that sign, we can know that just like the name is not different than Krishna, the deity form is not different than Krishna, the Bhagavatam is not different than Krishna, the holy Dham of Vrindavan is not different than Krishna. And the Vaishnavas are representatives of Krishna. So we serve them with great reverence and affection. And there's reciprocation. Naturally. One more thing, and I think we can invite the deities to come. Are the deities ready to come? Yes? Just verify. Yes, okay. One more thing. I hope I can remember the one more thing. Some nice instruction Prabhupada gave about worship of deity for householders. Yes. As we know, 6 Goswamis, they were Goswamis. They weren't householders. But 5 of the 6 Goswamis and many of the other exalted acharyas, fully realized personalities, they had their deities. Some were householders, some were renunciates, etc., etc. The one of the 6 Goswamis that didn't have deities was Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Because his deity was Srimad Bhagavatam. There was a time when many of us, Prabhupada's disciples, we engaged in book distribution, like anything. I'm sure Lakshmi did his share. I did my share. And I remember when doing book distribution, this is Gopijana Vallabha and Rasaraj and Brajendra Nandana and myself, a team of 4 of us. We went out in the van and we emptied out the van. And so the GBC and temple president, they sent us a whole air container of books. We just loaded up the van right up to the ceiling, kind of waddled down the road until we could unload the van enough that we had a place to sleep. Otherwise, we slept outside. And then when we had enough room in the van, we slept on top of the books. And then at some point, it wasn't our party, but others asked Prabhupada, when we're traveling like this, should we have deities? Brahmacharis. Should we have deities? Prabhupada said, the books are your deities. He didn't say, follow Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. But and so we slept on our deities. Because when we traveled in the winter, it was really cold. But if you're not a brahmachari doing book distribution in a van for months at a stretch, we didn't come back. They sent us books, that method. For those of you that are householders, why is there emphasis twice in the purport for householders? It's especially important. Why? Two reasons why. One, there's wealth. And use a wealth in service to Krishna. And one of the ways to serve Krishna with wealth is nicely decorated deities. And when you have wealth and deities, you want to decorate them nicely, your mind is engaged in thinking, here comes Gaur Purnima. What can we do to decorate our deity and have a nice festival for our deity? And engages the mind in practical ways, engages your financial resource in practical ways to glorify Krishna or your deity, Gaurnitai, or whatever the deity is. And the second reason that Prabhupada explained is household life means the bodily conception. And, although we're a spirit soul, not the body, it's accepting the bodily identification and acting in an ashram that's appropriate for that particular bodily form that we have and she or he has. And so we're engaging in that conception that's on the bodily platform. And so deity worship helps us to dovetail or connect that form conception to the Supreme, because the deity form is not material. I remember during the installation of Krishna Balaram. Were you there? 74 or 75, I can't remember the year. Were you in Vrindavan at that time? Yeah? It was really an amazing thing. But the deities are ready to come out, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But I remember on the lecture at the time of the installation, Prabhupada personally performed the arti for Radha Shama Sundar and Krishna Balaram. And when he turned after offering the article, he was radiating. And then after the arti, he gave a lecture. And in the lecture, he said something that I didn't know. He said, everybody knows that these deities were carved in Jaipur. I mean, I could have figured it out, but I didn't know that. And that means they're made of marble. So why are we worshiping marble? Or brass, or wood, or material substance and calling it a deity? Because in this archana process, the materials become fully spiritualized, and they are the form of the Supreme Lord, and they're none different than the form of the Supreme Lord. Now, in the schedule, it says I was going to speak on Gaur Leela, and I did something else. But let me say one Gaur Leela about the deity form is not different. This is a pastime of Lord Chaitanya, an anticipation of Gaura Purnima. When Lord Chaitanya was 24 years old, he had a second marriage because his first wife died out of separation when he went traveling for some period of time, and she couldn't bear separation. She died. His second wife was very young, very beautiful, very qualified, very chaste, very, very, very transcendentally very everything. And his mother was a widow who had a number of sons that died shortly after they were born, and one that survived, and he took sannyas. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to take sannyas. There's reasons. And according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, he informed just a handful of persons. The first one he informed, Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda was stunned. He cried because he knew what that meant. It wasn't like, I'm going to lose a friend or something. He knew what the impact would be on all the residents of Navadvip that were, he was their life and soul, and he was going to leave. And his mother, and et cetera, et cetera. Lord Chaitanya, then Nimai Pandit, calmed him. And then they went to see a few other personalities to inform them. And one of those personalities, one of the handful, was Gauridas Pandit at Ambika Kalna. Gauridas Pandit at Ambika Kalna was just some distance up the Ganges. So they went to visit him. And Gauridas Pandit was elder, not exactly the age of his father, but a little elder. And he had a very funny relationship with Lord Chaitanya. His relationship was, he would tell Lord Chaitanya what to do. Or Nimai Pandit. So Nimai Pandit came with Nityananda, and they informed him, he's going to take sannyas. Gauridas said, no, you can't do that. If you do this, I'll die. I'm so much attached to you. What to speak of, all the other residents? I'll die. I won't be able to maintain my life, so no. Lord Chaitanya smiled. And he made an arrangement for very tall Gauritai deities to be given to Gauridas Pandit. Some descriptions say he manifested them, some say he arranged for them. In any case, Gauritai. And Lord Chaitanya said, when you see the deity, you'll see me. I have to go now. And he started to, it's a very nice place with a big tall wall and gate and everything. So he was about to go out the gate. And Gauridas came running and said, no. If the deity is not different than you, then you stay, let the deity go. Lord Chaitanya smiled. He said, okay. So he went to the altar, and the deity got off the altar and started heading for the gate. And Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda went on the altar and stood with their arms raised. And Gauridas said, no, it's okay, it's okay. You can go, let them stay. And they went back and forth several times, and he then understood. The deity is not different. He had this unique, who's going to tell Nimai Pandit? No. He did. But it became a yes. Because of the loving exchange, where the deity form and the person who the deity is the deity of are the same. And there's more to the whole description. But they do something in that place of worship like at Banki Bihari. Some of you have been to Vrindavan. And the deity of Banki Bihari, they keep the deity curtain closed, and then they start to wiggle the deity curtain and make some loud noises, and then the curtain opens and you see the deity, everyone goes, Haribol, and then they close the curtain. Because the idea is he might get off the altar and leave. So they do that even to this day at Ambika Kalna. You only can get a glimpse. Very, very powerful deities, very personal deities worshipped by Gauridas Pandit and his brother Suryadas. They lived in this extended family kind of living situation. Surya Das's two daughters became the two wives of Lord Nityananda. Surya Das Sarakil, the brother of Gauridas Pandit. And that's another nice story, which we'll tell another time. This is the deity worship evening. So the deities are ready to come. So please welcome the deities. Kirtan, Kirtan, Kirtan.
Hare Hare Krishna. Hare Rama. Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare